Yo guys, Boomer here and welcome back to another Rocket League video. Today, since I had a bunch of comments recently, I think I'll do a little Q&A video and just knock out some of your guys' comments. There were a few things that I'd like to make full videos on, like 50-50s, flip manipulations, game sense stuff, and so on. So make sure you guys keep an eye out. I'll be recording those videos very soon. Also, for those of you that don't know, I'm also a streamer over on Twitch. I stream pretty much daily. I've just been taking a little break until the holidays and New Year are over. So make sure you guys join the Discord so you can stay up to date with streams and when I post on my socials. But yeah, anyway, let's dive right in. These questions I can provide quick and good answers to. So yeah, let's get right into it. All right, so I was getting a lot of comments about showing my settings. I do have a settings video up on the channel. But just for the sake of making it easier for you guys, this is currently what I am using as of today, which is the 28th. So this is my camera settings. Here are my sensitivities. And like I said, I play completely default binds. And yes, I do play claw. Somebody had asked me that. And the only difference is really I keep power slide and air roll on square because I'm hitting that with my index finger, and then air roll left and right on R1 and L1. Yeah, other than that, everything is default. Here are my video settings. This I usually swap between 280 and 240. As of right now, I'm liking how 240 feels, so that is currently what I'm using. Okay, so another question somebody asked me is if I could be a Rocket League coach. And lucky for that person, I actually am a Rocket League coach. If you guys are curious about my qualifications to be a coach in this game, I've been playing this game for 8, almost 9 years. I have around like 8,600 hours, almost 9,000 hours in the game. I've been SSL in 3v3 and 2v2, not in 1v1 yet, but hopefully we'll get it this season. And I have been playing RLCS quals for, I want to say, like 3 seasons. I'm no longer trying to compete just because I'm a little old for the Rocket League scene. I am 24, turning 25, so in Rocket League, that kind of just makes me dust. So, but yeah, another thing is I used to do coaching completely for free. But the issue with that is I would get a lot of people coming to stream who I would put lots of time into, breaking down their replays, giving them replay analysis. And they would come back and be making the same mistakes, the next week. And for trying to make coaching and streaming and content creation as a daily job, I think it's pretty reasonable that I should charge for something like that. And with that being said, my prices are very, very reasonable. So I literally have 1 replay for a single dollar, 3 replays for $5. And then there are hour sessions if you guys are curious. So for an hour or 2, I charge $40. A single hour is $30. And you can also buy 3 hours for $80. Now the 3-hour one, because it's obviously the most expensive one, I don't really want to put a time limit on it. If you are going to buy the $80 package, I'll just say it takes as long as it has to take. So if I have to sit there and try to work with somebody for an entire day to try to get these concepts understood, then I definitely will. But hopefully $1 is enough for some of you guys who want to look into coaching. I don't push my coaching on my channel or my content just because I know a lot of Rocket League players are young, and a lot of Rocket League players probably don't make their own money, right? So if coaching is something you're looking into, maybe I'll think of some way you guys can win some free coaching lessons in the future. But as of right now, like I said, I don't really push it. I think it is crucial to get your replays analyzed by a higher level player at some point. But I mean, if you're underneath champ rank, I don't think it's necessary. And that's kind of why I did the video yesterday of how to break down your own replays, because it's a skill that everybody can learn. But yeah, moving on to the next. There was one comment, which I'll put up on the screen, of somebody saying they are a 1v1 main, and they're an aspiring professional player, and they think their game sense is very good. They just are inconsistent because of their mechanics. And with that being said, there is not really an easy way to just gain mechanics. It's not something you can do overnight. Mechanics are very much something that is muscle memory. Training your muscle memory is pattern recognition and simply just putting the hours in. Any professional player you see at the high level that you think is extremely mechanical has put hundreds of thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of hours into messing those mechanics up. And that's truly what mechanics are in the game, right? It's practice and repetition. So there's not really an easy way to just start doing mechanics, like I said. So it is actually good that you are playing 1v1 already, or that you main 1v1. A lot of the pro players back in the day, and even now, come up from the one scene, believe it or not. So there were a lot of pro players back then, and even now, like I said, who became so good at 1v1. Because 1v1 is one of the best teachers in Rocket League. It's obviously very tilting, because as soon as you make a mistake, you get punished for it, right? And that's typically why a lot of people don't grind ones. It's why a lot of people don't want to play ones, because it exposes your weaknesses. So if you're already playing 1v1, I think your progression is gonna be a lot quicker than somebody who's struggling in a 2s or 3v3 environment. But at the same time, a lot of these pros would just get so good mechanically, so good defensively, so good offensively, and then they would just go learn how to play 3v3 with teammates. And that's how they climb their way to pro. So it's honestly up to you how you want to pursue it. But I think if mechanics are your main issue right now, you really just gotta hit free play. And when you have those opportunities in 1v1, when you get the space, that's really where you can put your mechanics into play. Ones is very cool for mechanics, because that's why you see a lot of like freestylers. Like I remember I used to watch a Vample back in the day when he would just like freestyle the Grand Champ or freestyle the SSL. Obviously I've always been a competitor at heart, so I'm not gonna freestyle my way anywhere. I'm somebody who likes to just punish mistakes and be an efficient player. So 1v1 for me is a good way for me to not only warm up my mechanics, but try to really put in my game sense of outsmarting another player. Making a play difficult enough or unsavable enough for another player. That's something that I think 1v1 drills into people's heads. So my best advice to you is you just got to put the hours in, brother. But yeah, keep up your grind, and hopefully we'll see you in the pro scene sometime. Best of luck. Okay, another comment that I saw in the last video was somebody talking about how important recovery is. For me, the reason input efficiency and recovery go hand in hand is because back in the day when you would watch RLCS, RLCS was probably like, for those of you that weren't around back then, it was very like not mechanical. So the coolest thing you could see in like an RLCS game back in the day was like this. You'd see like a very brick glue air dribble. Like that was like as mechanical as it got. And then maybe a ceiling shot is like, I'm sure everybody's seen Squishy's ceiling shot, but like these were the two, like, and maybe you could add a Doomsy dish or a double tap in there. But it used to be very stripped of mechanics, right? Because the game was so fresh at the time. So one of the things that I used to love watching players do is there were some players who obviously, they'd get bumped or they'd have a 50 collision, whatever, and it would take them a second to recover. Like you'd see them bouncing off the walls and their cars like all out of control, like whatever. But then you had players who would get bumped and they would just make sure they land. Or, they would jump for like an aerial, get bumped, and they'd always make sure that their wheels were landing. And that's something that I paid attention to heavy, because it's kind of like watching like a cat, right? Like a cat is always known to land on its legs. So that's something that I always wanted to implement into my game. And recovery game is extremely underrated and important, because if your recovery game is better than somebody else, you're going to get back to the play quicker, and you're going to be more vital in majority of the plays. So if you watch any high level gameplay, if you watch any pros, if you've played any pros, it always feels like the pro is faster than you, right? But at the same time, that's not the case. They just recover faster, and they're always, making sure they have the right momentum in the right positions. And this is what makes them feel like they're faster overall around the entire field, because they can constantly be a part of every single play. They can have their hand in every single play. They can have an effect on every single play. So whoever pointed out the recovery mechanic, you are a W commenter, friend. All right, on to the next. So somebody said it's difficult to be efficient with their inputs when their car control is not there. And that's kind of why I made that video in the first place. I made the directional air rolls and the input efficiency kind of back to back, because they kind of go hand in hand, right? You're obviously going to struggle with input efficiency if you just lack the car control, right? If you don't understand what correction needs to be done with your car in that moment in time, then it's going to be hard to know what to press on the controller, right? So I think the best thing to train for you is your car control. For me, I wanted to have complete and utter car control when I was coming up in this game, just because that's one of the beautiful things about Rocket League, is that you have complete and total control over every single movement that your car does, right? So for me personally, I would just watch pro gameplay and watch how they move their cars in certain orientations. And yeah, even today I still do that. There are times where I feel like I'm lacking the control that I usually want to play with. So sometimes I just gotta remind myself to, be efficient as possible with my inputs, because there's no point of doing too much. All right, on to the next. Right, so this person's comment was talking about a 3v3 game where, them and their second man kind of get stuck on the goal line together, and the first man is just 50ing the ball in the corner nonstop, and they feel like they have no other option but to stop their momentum. So this is just not the case. So what I'll do is I'll go play a threes game. I have not touched threes since I was competing in RLCS, so it's been a few seasons. You can see that my threes rank is very, very low. So hopefully it'll be easy, because the pacing of that game should be very slow for me, that I can have some time to show you what I would do in those situations. Okay? So I'll go queue a game up, and then we'll go back in the replay and break it down. Sounds good? All right, let's go. Okay, so we are done with the 3v3 game, and we have some perfect examples for you guys. So obviously it's a Cham 2 game, so you can expect I'm going to win it in dominant fashion. I should definitely not be playing at this rank. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys some examples of what keeping your momentum across the goal line looks like, and I'm also going to show you some mistakes of why not to do it. So already you can tell it's a pretty awkward game for both teams already. I had the feeling that a lot of mistakes are going to happen in this threes game, which it definitely did. So here, you can already see the first issue, right? They're very cluttered on their goal line. So what I was talking about earlier, in the other video, I'm paying attention to this guy's car. He gets a very, very heavy touch, and his car is not recovered. So this is, even though I'm a third man here, this is good for me to go to as long as I don't get dusted, right? If this guy was playing a little faster, recovered a little faster, he can definitely dust me to this, right? But because of his recovery, I go, and this allows both my teammates to get out of their corner, right? So now my teammates filter out, and because this guy's sitting on the goal line, coming from zero momentum, he then throws a wrench for Mickey into the play. So now you can see they're both in the same spot, right? So now I get this touch around, and if I actually got my wave dash, Mickey is going to get demoed. This is a very, very big issue in 3v3, right? And this is because people just wait on the goal line. You make yourself a very, very easy target. If you are somebody who gets demoed a lot, it's because you're most likely doing this. Now you can see here, we obviously do not get the demo, but you'll see that we do get some goals soon. And so this is another situation where I'm keeping my momentum up in case he shoots, right? So I'm covering the entire net. Whatever shot he has here, even if he has a pass, I have it covered, right? Because I have my momentum up. I'm expecting a high shot. He ends up mistouching because it's champ 2. So I just have to wait for the dinks. Now, this is already one of the situations where I see this happening. This is the situation that the comment is talking about, and that's the ball getting stuck in the corner and you're first man trying to 50 it. If you are in this position, speed the ball up, okay? Literally cut your teammate off. I don't care. The reasoning for this is because he is now baiting his teammate into this play. You see how he turns around and he's getting ready to go? The last thing somebody expects is somebody with momentum to come through and get this ball out. So you can see I've already got 2 out of the play just with that one touch. And now we are in counterattack transition. And that's literally all it takes. But because this is a low level, obviously it looks like I'm just cutting him off when in reality he should be playing that as fast as possible. Teammate should be filtering in behind me, and then, you know, we come out into the counter. So I just have to force 50. I'm trying to get the boost. Teammate takes it from me. That's fine. So you can see as soon as I'm third man, I'm keeping my momentum up so I can be ready for whatever interaction. If there's a bang. See, even right here, I I misflip because I'm expecting him to play the high, but don't worry, I don't think they end up scoring this. So you can see the difference of how I keep my momentum up versus everybody else, how I get into positions a lot quicker. It's a very drastic example because this is Champ 2, and obviously I'm an SSL player in a Champ 2 lobby, so you guys will see the difference of what that looks like. So already you can see how awkward this is because they get a touch that is just a giveaway, and as soon as he turns, he has no information, and I'm just there. I look very annoying, right? And now I've set my teammate up for a shot, and look at both of these guys. They're both not carrying momentum across the goal line. Beamy was, but he slowed down because he's afraid that Mickey doesn't have it. And this is just not how you play defense, because you see what happens as soon as this ball spills out. It's just panic. So all 3 players just got a touch there. And it's a goal already. So this is nothing special, right? I'm literally, again, punishing the bad, like, giveaway touch. Okay, and then I make sure I just let him touch it first. And then he hits it into me. And now I'm trying to get a Doomsy dish here. I end up whiffing, but because they're both on the goal line, let's take a look here. No one is prepared to react. No one is. You can see it. He's constantly hitting his accelerate, hitting his reverse, hitting his accelerate, hitting his reverse. He has no idea what to do with his momentum. It's why you just don't sit in the net. You're going to concede stupid goals just like that one. Let's speed this up a little bit so we can... Again, you can see at any point if somebody is like sitting on the goal line, it just makes it so confusing for everybody else. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Again, right here, same exact thing. Heavy touch from them. I'm speeding the ball up. It's just making it hard for them to move, and they're getting put in a blender, is what I would call that. Because no one is keeping their momentum. So already here, I'm noticing that situation happen again. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have my teammates slow play this backwards. So I'm just making the interaction happen quick so we can get the play moving. 3v3 should have a solid flow to it. You can see again, almost here, they almost concede another goal. Because no one is playing the bounce, right? No one plays this bounce. This is a free bang if somebody just uses their boost and turns around. But we almost get a shot out of it. And you can see just how annoying I can be to a team like this that traps themselves on the goal line. Because obviously I'm going to be able to touch the ball a lot more. You can see Mickey right here. It's gone this last like minute. it's just been all 3 blue players on their goal line. No one is ready to do anything because no one has any momentum. So the ball is just going, they're doing circles in front of their net. And now you can see when somebody actually takes the time. So after that entire like siege of pressure, I notice how messed up they are. They've probably all used a good amount of boost. And then Mickey has a mistouch, right? There's no clear here. So now I've noticed no one's keeping their momentum. He's defaulting, is what I would call this. He's defaulting back to his net. So somebody in a higher level lobby would have already challenged me. But at this point, I'm like, okay. And then my team is going for a bump, so I'm just going to try to pick the Dominus to try to beat, which obviously all I had to do was get a touch over him, and the Merc is confused on when to go because he's waiting for his teammate to go. It breeds nothing but confusion when you sit on the goal line like this. Let's take a look at a situation here where we got stuck on our side, so you guys can see how I play something like this, right? So it's already extremely messy, right? So it begins here, right? Teammate has a dink touch, right? Gets dunked. And now I know my teammate's going for a squishy, and he's most likely going to miss, right? I'm playing a champ 2. I can assume he's probably going to miss. So instead of like stopping my momentum, I keep it across the goal line, and I'm trying to block an option, right? If he has a pass, if he has a shot, I'm trying to block that. Now, no one on my team has done the right thing, so this is already dangerous again. Luckily, they shoot it over. Teammate dinks it into our own backboard, so I'm playing the cutoff lane. Now, cutoff lane meaning I'm here in case, you know, they pass to anybody, and I'm also here to cover my own backboard. Right? I'm in the spot where I can cut the play out, and I can distribute it into the corner. So now I'm kind of hoping my teammate can get this ball out of the corner and get it into the infield so we can put a play together, but he doesn't. They're doing the slow dink 50s in the corner, and you can see what that leads to. It leads to absolutely nothing but confusion and bullshit. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to play the damage control and get this ball out. I'm trying to get the boost out, but teammate takes it. But now we get a counterattack. So you can see, if you want to blame something on the blue team, you can blame it on that entire corner play where nothing was done by the other team. Nothing was gained by the other team. They didn't win a boost. They didn't win anything. And then they just have a whiff. So, yeah. I think to actually solve like the bigger picture of the problem, people just play the corners incorrectly in 3v3. So, yeah. I think these are pretty good examples of what not to do in your games. Again, like right here, they're all just like afraid to clear the ball or get it moving. And it's another goal. Like obviously he makes the first save, right? He goes to net with his 100 boost and just dinks it up. And he's like, oh, I made the first save. What are you going to do about the second one? You see what I'm saying? By you're turning your back to the play and then you're trying to turn around for a shot. Any hard play shot in Rocket League, 70 miles per hour or faster, someone on the goal line is just not going to react. I mean, obviously, there are players out there that can react to something like that, but it's just not the optimal way to play defense. If you want to rank up in 3v3, 2v2, whatever, just please stop sitting on the net. Stop sitting in the net. I promise you, if you go into any of your games and you just maintain your momentum across the goal line, even in a ones game, right? Even in a ones game, if they flick, if they shoot hard, like you can cover this entire face of the net with just a single jump and a flip. Like you have more than enough room to do this. And you might think, oh, well, someone might just fake you if you're going full speed. Well, that's something like you need momentum-wise for. You need to be paying attention to what they're doing. Because if they slow the play down, then you cut in, right? So I truly want everybody to go watch like high-level gameplay. And you know what? Let's go pull a replay. Let's go pull a replay from somebody, yeah? Let's do it. Okay, so we have Team Vitality versus Carmine Corp here. Let's go watch everybody's favorite players then. Let's go take a look here. So when I was talking earlier about there are players who can react to something like that, Zen is one of those players who can react to something like that. But if you are not one of those players, please do not sit on the goal line. There are times you might be back down and have to play that, but I feel like most of the time in low Grand Champ and low SSL, I watch players voluntarily back themselves down to the goal line and kill their own momentum, and it gets themselves scored on so many times. Pay attention to how Karmine played this in the corner, right? Even Vatira, he slows down here for a second, but he's ready to go as soon as possible. He does not go into the net. He is sitting across the net, right? And then watch Itachi here. So Itachi is the one who then becomes the third man. You can see he's playing for multiple scenarios. He's playing if Vatira hard wins the 50. He's playing if it goes up to the ceiling. He has all that covered. He's playing for the pass out mid. He can cut that, right? As soon as he sees Exotic has it, he's keeping his momentum up. And he's just turning infield into the play. So you can just pay attention to how all these players play the goal line. See what I'm talking about? How they play the corners too? If there's no option, most of the time they take a calculated 50, not a dink, not a dumb 50, not a pinching 50, not a detrimental 50. Which is usually what happens most of the time in low 3v3. You get really, really bad 50s. But you'll notice when you watch pro gameplay that there's just a flow to it, right? I think that's one of the most exciting things about pro gameplay is that there's almost never breaks in the play. It's just constant flow, constant trades of possession as these teams try to work each other for a goal. Right, because at the highest level, it really becomes like a mind game of you're just constantly presenting problems for the other team. Oh my goodness, Karmine, hello. You're presenting issues for the other team. And this is a perfect example, right? So you have a spilled extension touch from Alpha. And it's obviously trying to go to Zen, but it's too slow. That's the problem, right? So it allows Itachi to get in front of it. Once Itachi sees this and Alpha is backwards, Radisson has no momentum. Vatira is coming in with the momentum, so he plays the dust. Right? He gets two players out, and then he even gets a bump on Zen. This allows for Itachi to turn back around and rip a shot. Beautiful play by Karmine. But you can see almost at any point in this game, there's like no one sitting on the goal line. Oh, I see. This is still not even sitting on the goal line, is it? I mean, this is just an unfortunate kickoff, but well played by Vatira. The 50 is very good there. I'm just trying to see where some of these goals go in so we can hopefully get some examples. Oof. There you go. There's an example. Alpha on his goal line. So, in a different, reality, right? One of the best things that could have happened is if Alpha is carrying his momentum here, he can chow for this touch, right? If he was just arriving, he can jump up here and block the touch to the backboard. But instead, he's jumping from the goal line, which it's just it's always hard. It's going to happen. There's not going to be a perfect game where you're just going to be able to stay out of the goal all the time. I'm just saying, if it's a situation where you can decide to not be in the goal, please do not go in the goal. Here's a good example here as well by Alpha. All right, just keep the momentum up and keep the ball going, keep the ball moving. I feel like the two things that become a detriment is it's not specifically sitting in the net, but it's when people throw a wrench in somebody's flow. Whether that be they can no longer stay within the play, they can no longer keep their momentum up. And look how there's no confusion here. Obviously Alpha whiffs, but then Zen knows he can then go. It doesn't cause confusion either, right? Because even if you whiff, then your teammate is ready, right? Because if you slow play this, and they get a goal out of it too, which is good. Imagine if Alpha slow plays this, right? He just slams on his brakes, and does like and goes up the backboard or like tries to jump, what's gonna happen to these two? Radisson's gonna go here and stop his momentum. Zen's gonna go here and stop his momentum. Instead, you just make the play happen. As soon as the whiff comes through, Zen then knows he can go for the ball. Anyway, I'm done with my little rant. That's something you guys can take with a grain of salt. If you don't want to follow my advice and you're a net camper and you save everything in the world, then go for it. But at least for me in my career, I've seen it plague so many people's games, and they just invite people to shoot on them, invite people to score on them. But yeah, if this video helped you guys at all, please leave a like, share, or sub. If you guys want any more tutorial videos specifically, please let me know in the comment section below. I have the 50-51 and what else did I say? Sorry. 50-51 and flip manipulations on the way. Other game sense stuff too. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one or on stream. Much love and peace.